Hi everyone, it's Dr. Tom O'Brien, and I think I'm live. I hope I am. I'm in the airport in Houston, and it's been a bit of a funny thing, I guess. I packed my headphones in my checked bag, so I had to go get a headset and charge it up so the thing could work, but here we are. So this is on what's the big deal with hidden sources of gluten? Why is there a problem with that? So I'm going to talk about first what is the big deal with hidden sources of gluten, and then I'm going to talk about some of the hidden sources of gluten. Some of them might surprise you, and I'll get this done. I'm going to do my best to get it done with 10 minutes. So I'm going to give you the big kahuna overview picture, and then you can dial down more information afterwards. We'll give you some follow-up ideas on what to do. So why is it a big deal? When you produce elevated antibodies to gluten, meaning your body says, you got a problem with gluten, when that happens, you produce what's called a memory B cell. The memory B cell, it's there forever. It never goes away. And if you produce a memory B cell to a food that your body says is a problem, you're going to have a sensitivity to that food. Immunologists have been telling us that for years. That's how vaccinations work. So let me give you the vaccination story so you kind of get in the feel of this, and I'll get into the rhythm here. So if you get a vaccination for measles, they give you a shot of the bug measles, the actual bug measles. And your brain says, whoa, what's this in my bloodstream? And in your immune system, you've got Army, Air Force, Marine Corps generals sitting around with nothing to do, and they say, you general, you now are General Measles, you take care of this. General Measles builds an assembly line. The assembly line starts producing soldiers. Those soldiers are called antibodies, and their job is to go out in the bloodstream and find measles and get rid of it. That's what immunizations or vaccinations are supposed to do. When all of the measles bugs from the vaccination have been destroyed, there's no more in the bloodstream, General Measles, who built the assembly line, he's watching all of this, he says, okay, turn off the assembly line. I don't need any more soldiers here right now. You shouldn't have any antibodies to measles in your bloodstream right now, unless you've been exposed, and then you should. But General Measles is now vigilant the rest of his life, so that if you're ever exposed to measles again, General Measles just has to flip the switch to start producing the antibodies. He doesn't have to build the assembly line again. Building the assembly line takes months and months and months. But turning the switch on, you've got elevated antibodies within a couple of days. That's why if you go to Africa, you need vaccinations for yellow fever and dengue fever and all these weird diseases when months before you go, months. But if you go back to visit again 10 years later, 20 years later, you just need a booster shot. Everybody's heard of booster shots. 2 weeks before you go, you need a booster shot. Why? Because the booster shot wakes up general yellow fever and general dengue fever, and so that within a couple days to a week, you've got the elevated antibodies again to protect you against these diseases. The general yellow fever, now for the rest of his life, that's his job, to protect you from yellow fever. Well, when you get elevated antibodies to wheat, to any of the peptides of wheat, and now you know about the proper kind of testing, and if you're not sure, just go back to my website, and you can get the article. It's called The Conundrum of Gluten Sensitivity, Why the Tests Are Often Wrong, and read the article about why you have to do the right type of testing, and talk to your doctors about this once you've read. Give him the article. I've put the references in there so he can look it up, and they can check and confirm that what I'm writing about is accurate. And so he says, I didn't know that. But if you've got the elevated antibodies to wheat, you now have general wheat or general gluten for the rest of your life. So if you get any exposure whatsoever, General Gluten, who now is vigilant for the rest of his life, he just has to flip the switch and you've got the elevated antibodies again, just like for measles or yellow fever or any of the immunizations that you might get. So that's why hidden sources of gluten are such a problem, because if you don't know you're getting this, I mean, if you eat it and you know you're eating it, then you've got no one to blame that you don't feel good the next day or whatever your particular symptoms are. But the hidden sources that you don't know you're getting exposed to it, that's what keeps people, that's one of the primary reasons why only 8% of celiacs heal on a gluten-free diet. Only 8% of them do. And they have a shortened lifespan. Celiacs, after diagnosis, have a shorter lifespan. On average, it's 2 to 1. Celiacs are twice as likely to die twice as often at an earlier age than someone with the same body build, the same history, the same socioeconomic class at that age. Celiacs are twice as likely to die early in life. And if you have different diseases, like if you have a gut disease like Crohn's disease or colitis, and you also have celiac, then the odds are 70 to 1. You're 70 times more likely to have a shorter lifespan with Crohn's disease or colitis if you also have the sensitivity to wheat. That's why it's so important that you don't trigger general gluten when you are out eating or with the foods you're eating. If you're really trying to be careful, you need to know this information. So I'm going to look on my screen over here as I look away from you guys. I've learned to look at the camera now on the phone. And I just want to see if I can pull up some of the questions that I know are coming in. And nope, I can't. My honey is watching. I know she is, so she can text me and tell me how do I get to the questions, because I don't know how to get to Oh, I see all the questions on my phone. Oh, I see it. There we go. Okay. What you put in your skin ends up in your bloodstream at Sydney. Oh, thank you, Sarah Marriott. That's true. Across the board, that's true. And in Japan, they did one study where they found 1,900 people, that's 1,900 people, when they used a particular soap that had an extract of wheat in it as one of the ingredients. These people had developed wheat-induced asthma, and 70% of them also got hives. So it's one of the reasons why people get hives and they don't know why it happened to them, is they got some exposure to something. And wheat is one of those triggers that can cause that to occur. What about beauty products? And that's from Deborah Thaler. Hello, Deborah, thanks. And can I recommend beauty products? Yes, I can. And not from personal experience. I don't, but yeah. My good friend Kevin and Anna Marie Gianni, they have a cosmetic company. We'll put the posting here, the URL for them. They are meticulous to make sure that all of their cosmetics are gluten-free, chemical-free, highest quality. Once you go to their site and you read about them, you say, oh, these people really know what they're doing. And we'll post that here for you so that you've got the link. Sydney Fuller says, I was using a shampoo with hydrolyzed wheat protein and it was making my head itch and my hair fall out, so I switched to a new shampoo. That's exactly the kind of thing that happened with the 1,900 people who complained or who were found by this researcher in Japan. That's exactly what happened. They were using a soap with wheat hydrolyte isolates. You used a shampoo, Sydney, with hydrolyzed wheat, but it's the same concept. People who are sensitive to this, it might react in their skin. You also have to look at the rouge and lipstick. Those also are places where you can find hidden sources of wheat. I'm going to give you an idea of what some of the sources are now, and I'm going to read from this list. We have this handout for people at theDr.com. It goes with our education program. But this handout, I'll just read some of these to you. It's like 5 pages of things from ale. Of course, beer, we know beer is an ale, falls into that category. Attaflour, A-T-T-A, attaflour. Barley, of course, barley enzymes, barley flakes, barley malt extract, barley malt flavoring, pearl barley, beer, bran breadcrumbs, bread flour, breading, brown flour, bulgur wheat, club wheat, couscous, and that was a really sad one for me. I really like couscous, and unfortunately, Elaine Watkins says, "Hi, Dr. Bryan. Do you see a tendency for people to become deficient in particular nutrients after getting off gluten and grains?" Yes, I do. Actually, it's a little off topic, but yes, I do. And that is they become deficient in prebiotics. The prebiotic fibers to feed the good bacteria in your gut. You really have to focus on making sure you replenish, because 78% of the prebiotic in the American diet is wheat. So take wheat out for other reasons, but you now take out the main source of the prebiotic that you're feeding your good bacteria, and the result is that you, over the course of the next few months, you develop more dysbiosis, bad bacteria in your gut, and then all the symptoms that can pop up from that one. Deanna Pollock writes, "Cauliflower couscous is great." You're absolutely right. My wife makes it, and I am in heaven when she makes it. It's really good. I'm not exaggerating. And, cauliflower, you can take it or leave it. It's kind of like, I'll eat this because I know it's good for me. But when she makes this cauliflower couscous, it's really, really great. Fei asks, hello, Fei. She asks, what about oats? When oats grow out, that's a really good question. That's a really important one. When oats grow out of the ground, there's no gluten in them. When you buy oats off the shelf, there's gluten in them. And there's a couple of reasons why this contamination occurs. One is when they harvest the oats and they bring them to the manufacturing facility, they put them in the truck where they carried wheat last week, and they don't clean the trucks. Just a minute. Sorry. They don't clean the trucks, so you get exposure there. Also, there can be wheat fields down the road from the oat fields, and some wheat seeds can blow over into the oat fields, and then some strands of wheat grow up in the oats, and the farmers don't see it because there's only one or two strands here or there, but it gets in the harvested oats. So there are oats that you can buy that are certified gluten-free. Those are the oats you want. I know of glutenfreeoats.com. Bob's Red Mill has certified organic oats. There's a number of companies now. You can find it pretty easily as long as you're using certified organic, organic's a different topic, certified gluten-free oats, then you're safe. And of course, do organic whenever you can. Back to our list for a minute. Emmer, einkorn, these are some of the ancient wheats that some people say, well, it's the ancient wheat, it's not as complicated a protein. That's true, but once you produce the antibodies to proteins, the ancient wheats still have the same molecular structure, the same protein structure. You guys, you're throwing questions at me like, Brian Arnold, what's your thoughts on the bulletproof diet? That's a whole nother one that we'll do. I think that would be a good one to do. Sabrina Avalone says, are gluten-free oats in the States? Yes, they are. In Argentina, we don't have them. They are contaminated. That's true, Sabrina, all over the world. And when you look, hello from Argentina, by the way. When you look at the foods, this is really a good one. The EPA did a study. 3 scientists from, no, it was the FDA, not the EPA, from the Food and Drug Administration. They looked at 286 gluten-free products and 180 naturally gluten-free products. Now, a naturally gluten-free product means you look at the label, it's rice, salt, and water. Well, that's naturally gluten-free. So they looked at almost 500 products. They did 2 separate tests on them looking for toxic levels of gluten. Oh, can you guys tell I'm in the club here at the Houston Airport, the United Club? So they looked at toxic levels of gluten. What did they find? Of those that are labeled gluten-free, 97.3% of them were gluten-free. That's really great. That's marvelous. Unless you're one of the 3% that gets the contaminated stuff, and then you got a real problem. Of those that were naturally gluten-free, 24.7% of them had toxic levels of gluten. That's 1 out of 4. But you read the label and there's nothing with wheat in it. But they're contaminated. And there's many reasons why they get contaminated, but they get contaminated. Now this bothered me for years because you eat something that you think is good for you, like, here's the example. I go to sushi restaurants. In 3 of 7 consecutive sushi restaurants that I asked the waiter, I said, please ask the chef, the sushi chef, if he has any flour in the rice. And the waiter goes, oh, no, sir, there's no flour in there. I said, I understand, please ask the chef. And the waiter thinks that I'm a little bit of a nutcase. right? And sometimes no, there's no right. You have to look at them really. So, please ask the chef, and then they walk away kind of huffy and puffy about it. But 3 out of the last 7 times, they came back and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Chef actually puts a scoop of flour in the sushi rice." So you go to Japanese restaurants thinking you're safe, and you're not. I took my sister to a restaurant. There's a chain restaurant called J. Alexander's, and I took her to one. It's a nice restaurant. You know, we've gone there for lunch a few times, and she ordered wild salmon, and I said, "How's that served?" And she said, "Well, it's on a bed of rice and some sautéed vegetables on the side." "Okay, please tell the chef that we are gluten-free." And I had to look in the guy's eyes and say, "Gluten-free." And I said, "Yeah, yes, sir, we're fully aware of how to handle it." I said, "Please tell the chef." I just had a hunch. So he came back and said, "Oh, sir, I'm so sorry." And he was really humble about it. He's a good waiter now. He was a little bit of a pisser before, but he's a good waiter now. And he said, "Sir, I'm so sorry. Chef puts a scoop of flour in the rice dishes, so all of our rice dishes have a little flour in them. I didn't know that." So you have to ask, and you can't be nice with the waiter when you say, "Oh, excuse me, but is there any flour in your rice?" And they'll just look at you like you're silly. You know, you have to have them be a representative to talk to the chef. Some people, some friends of mine, they have been exposed so many times in restaurants trying to be careful that they actually demand the chef come out. And you've got the right to do that. The manager or the owner or the chef, you know, you have those people come out so you can talk to them. Hello from Australia. Thank you for that. Oh, thank you, Jenna Matlock. Great to see you. Can you guys tell that I've been on a honeymoon for 7 weeks? I'm just so grateful. This is really wonderful. Kirsten Jones. Hi, Kirsten. Wow, I never even knew they put flour in sushi. Yeah. Oh, it's so cool that you guys are hearing this, or yeah, and responding. So I know that, you know, I'm talking to a phone, right? It's not great, but it's great to see that you're out there. So thank you so much. Thank you. Croutons. I'm going back to the list now. Croutons, farina, farro, fu, F-U, which I've never. It's really on the list. F-U. It's dried wheat gluten. That's what it says. Wheat germ. Hydrolyzed wheat proteins, hydrolyzed wheat starch, kamut, lager, macaroni, malt flavoring, malt syrup, malt extract, malted milk, Mary Pro 711, Mir, M-I-R, Nishasta, Nishasta, Oriental wheat, orzo, pearl barley, Persian wheat, roux, R-O-U-X, rusk, R-U-S-K, Secalal cereal, S-E-C-A-L-E, seitan, S-E-I-T-A-N, sprouted bottoms. Thank you. Someone said congratulations. Deanna Polak. Thank you, Deanna. It's really nice. It's really nice. Oh, there's my honey writing. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Elaine enjoyed the CGP program. Thanks, Elaine. Welcome aboard. Go out and heal the world, girl. Carry this information out there. Stout has wheat in it. Tabbouleh, that was a sad one. Tabbouleh, teriyaki sauce, wheat germ extracts, wheat pasta, anything with the word wheat in it, obviously. Einkorn, wild emmer. These are all definitely containing toxic levels of gluten. Then the foods that may contain gluten, depending on the processing, baking powder, because it can contain wheat starch. Barley grass. It's a health product. You know, you buy bottles of this powder, barley grass, and it's got some benefits, but not if you have a gluten sensitivity. Bicarbonate of soda. Blue cheese may have been cultured with mold grown on bread, especially if artisanal cheeses. Bouillon cubes. Many people put bouillon cubes to make their soups. Carob powder may contain barley. Cellulose cider. They may use barley in the production of ciders. Clarifying agents. Crispy rice may contain barley. Curry powder may contain wheat starch. Edible food coatings and films may contain wheat starch. Edible papers, when they wrap something in this, like paper, you can eat it. That may contain wheat starch. Flavored liqueurs, flavorings. You guys see this list just goes on and on. I mean, there's 5 pages here to this. So, it's impossible to control your exposure. I mean, it's just impossible. I've known this for years, and we haven't known what to do. So we came up with, I met two scientists, and some of you may have heard me talk about this. I met two scientists who've been looking at this topic for 6 years and 5 years. And then the three of us put 2 years into it, and we came out with the product called Glutenza, which is also called GI Shield. So I just want to tell you quickly about this, guys, because there's nothing like it out there. There are many enzymes that talk about helping to digest wheat. There are many different names that have wheat be gone, or bye-bye wheat, or bye-bye gluten, or whatever names they use. And most of them work, I think. They probably do. But they take hours and hours to work because this gluten is a really, really tough protein to break down. So what happens? When you swallow food, it goes in the stomach, it sits in this pool of acid, just this nasty acid that's very safe in the stomach. We've got mucus enzymes, or mucus cells in our stomach that allow hydrochloric acid to sit in there. But it breaks down any proteins and kills any bugs that might be with the food. That's its job. Anything that comes out of the stomach into the first part of the small intestine that could be a problem, that's where the sentries stand guard. The sentries are standing guard just inside the first part of the small intestine. And if anything comes out of the stomach that shouldn't be there, they activate the immune response right away. So general gluten gets activated right away as soon as food comes out of the stomach. How long does it take for food to come out of the stomach? Somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours. So if you're taking these gluten-assisting enzymes that take 3 to 6 hours to work, well, wait a minute. But if the immune system gets activated after 90 minutes to 2 hours, but your enzymes take 3 to 6 hours to work, why are we using them? If you're already activating the inflammatory response, which sets up the whole cascade. I really hope you guys will read my book. I really do, because you'll understand how this thing, you trigger that inflammatory response. It's like warning, warning, warning. When you trigger that inflammatory response, it's systemic. The inflammation goes through your whole body. And you've heard me say you pull at a chain, it breaks at the weakest link, at one end, the middle, the other end, your heart, your brain, your liver, your kidneys, wherever your genetic weak link is, that's where the chain's going to break. When you throw that inflammation on the fire and it goes systemic, wherever the weak link is, if it's your thyroid, you get more thyroid disease. If it's your brain, you get more brain antibodies. We're going to talk a lot about brain antibodies coming up. That's my new book that I've been working on in the last 7 weeks. My wife and I have been working on the book. Manuela asked which book. Oh, thank you. I didn't say, did I? It's The Autoimmune Fix. You can get it on Amazon. The Autoimmune Fix came out in September. If you go to my site to get it, theDr.com, theDr.com, right on the home page, there's the book. If you click on it, it takes you to Amazon, but it also will allow you to download a bunch of handouts that you can that help you with information from the book. And this Hidden Sources of Gluten is going to be one of those handouts that's there for you guys. How about talking about gluten and heart disease? Oh, where do you want to start? I mean, Mayo Clinic's published, I think I've got 5 studies on reversing cardiomyopathy. That's a swelling of the heart by putting them on a gluten-free diet. Reversing irregular heartbeats, reversing congestive heart failure, and the amount of blood that your heart pumps out in any one burst is called the ejection fraction. And when you have congestive heart failure, or you got a big swollen heart called myocarditis, your ejection fraction is compromised. And if you have an ejection fraction of like 42, that means you're only pushing out 42% of the blood that your body needs. Well, you can't walk up the stairs when that's happening, right? So the Mayo Clinic's published a couple of papers. They've got 8 patients in one paper, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 in another. Here's their ejection fraction beforehand, and here's 8 weeks after going gluten-free. Boom. And you see they've gone from like 34 to 66, and from 28 to 58. You just see these dramatic changes that are life-changing for people. So we can do a few hours on gluten in the heart, but this one is on what's the big deal about hidden sources of gluten. So the big deal is any exposures you get are a problem, and they can trigger an inflammatory response. So you put makeup on, and if you have a sensitivity and it's wheat-containing makeup, you get a reaction, whether it's a little shortness of breath or you get a little bit of a rash or something, that you trigger that systemic inflammatory cascade. And then depending on where the weak link is in your chain, that's where it may manifest. That's a really important thing to understand here, folks. You don't feel it when it starts off. You don't feel it until the inflammation's been going on for quite a while, killing off cells, killing off cells, killing off cells. Oh, Debbie Dillmore, Lennis, and 4 others just shared the video. Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for doing that. I'm told that's that's one of the things we hope you do is share the video, with your friends and stuff. I mean, I like it when I look back and I see 8,000 people have looked at this, and there's 150 comments, and we read all the comments. We've just hired some more people to help because there's no way to do it all by myself or 1 or 2 of us. But we read all the comments, so please feel free to make comments. Let me know if this is working for you. If you get one pearl. Somebody asked, Cheryl Peters, how many vitamins do you take and what kind? Okay, I'll do you that. I'll give you that one. On my site, on theDr.com, look for the gluten sensitivity packs. People don't like take a bunch of vitamins. They'll do it for a while when they're scared, but when they start feeling better, they'll mess up. They'll miss it. And so I miss this patient, can you take 1 pack a day? Can you take 1 pack a day? And, the 1 pack has 6 pills in it, but it's 1 pack a day. You aren't opening 6 bottles. And that's the gluten sensitivity packs. And there's just a couple of things I think are so critically important to take. One is the gluten sensitivity packs, because it's designed to heal intestinal permeability, to help to create an environment where your gut can heal from the damage that's there. So that's one. And the other is the colostrum on our site. We'll do a Facebook Live on colostrum when I talk about it. Mother Nature's gift to the planet. Obviously, every human being was designed when born to have mother's colostrum. The first 3 days of breast milk is colostrum. It's not milk. And if you can't breastfeed for whatever reason, then baby needs to be supplemented for that. So back to the list. I'll give you the list one more time. Caramel coloring, citric acid, dextrin, dextrose. Why dextrose? A highly processed starch which can be derived from wheat or barley or other sources. Gin, because it's derived from a combination of distilled grains. Glucose syrup, grain alcohol, grain-based vodka, malt vinegar, maltodextrin, maltose. Sake may contain barley enzymes, so you want to make sure that your sake doesn't have barley in it. Vanilla extract may contain grain alcohol. The grain alcohols often come from wheat. Vanilla flavoring, xanthan gum. And in the supplements that you get, these are the things you want to avoid in supplement ingredients when you look at the list. Barley beta-glucans, barley bran, barley leaf, barley powder, brewer's yeast, hordeum distion, D-I-S-T-I-C-H-O-N, Secal, S-E-C-A-L-E, cereal, C-E-R-E-A-L-E, wheat bran, wheat germ extract, wheat germ oil, wheat protein, wheat starch, triticum, T-R-I-T-I-C-U-M, alpha tocopherol, that's vitamin E, but it may be derived from wheat germ. And for really sensitive people, that could be a problem for them. Barley grass, beta-glucans, beta-glycans, beta-tocopherols, beta-tocotrienols. These are different forms of fat-soluble vitamins, caramel coloring, cross-linked starch. I mean, there's just so many things that you may be exposed to wheat with. That's why my wife and I, and we recommend to all of our clients and our friends, you take the GI Shield before a meal, because one capsule will handle all of the inadvertent exposures to gluten that you may find if you were to eat a slice of whole wheat bread. Now, don't ever eat the bread, think, well, I'll just take the capsules and I'm fine. No, you're not. This is to protect you against inadvertent exposures, and it'll do a really good job of that. We get lots of emails from people who are the yellow canaries in the coal mine, and they can't go out to eat with their wives or with their husbands, and they take our product, and E3 Advanced Plus is another name for the product. So there's GI Shield, E3 Advanced Plus, and Glutenza. They're all the same product. They used to be a little bit different. One of them had rice bran as a part of the ingredients, but some people have sensitivity to rice, so we took that out of there. And so it can be any of those three. E3 Advanced Plus, GI Shield, or Glutenza. All three are the same quality product. Just depends on which company is carrying it and selling it for you. Ryegrass pollen, sodium starch glycolate, starch, tocopherol acetate, tocopherol succinate. And these are names of vitamins that you'll see, on the big list of vitamins of ingredients when you get vitamins. Someone asked the question. So we'll have this. And then in medications, you have to be careful with medications. So the way you find out about your medications, anyone that's on any medication, call your pharmacist tomorrow and ask them, can you take a look at that thyroid medication that you filled for me, and just tell me for sure that there's no wheat in there, and say, tell me for sure. And they'll say, well, I don't, I'll check into it. And usually, pharmacists are great. They're one of the most trusted professions, and for a reason. They usually do a fabulous job, and if they don't know, they'll check and they'll find out for you. Let's see. So I think I'm going to wrap this up here because I'm supposed to do this for 15 minutes and not 3 hours. I think I've been over a half hour now. So thank you so very much for attending. I hope you got one pearl out of there or 2 pearls, and I'll look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Thanks again, everyone. Bye.